Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage from Daiquiri, Brian Mullins.
Don't believe me, just watch.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Really? That's it? Good? All right, let's do this. I'm Brian Mullins. I'm the founder and CEO of Daiquiri, and I'm here to talk about work in the future. Not just any work in the future, I'm here to talk about work in the future. That comma is very important, but we'll come back to it later. I'd like to open up with a really controversial statement. Given the state of tech today, many of you might disagree, but I do not believe we will be killed by artificial intelligence. In fact, I don't think that we'll get to see this scene in our lifetime. Now, we do, however, get our ass kicked at chess, though, and that's important. Now, along with this good news, there's some bad news. I also don't believe that an artificial intelligence is going to come and solve all of our problems for us. In fact, we're going to have to continue to solve our own problems. Has anyone heard of freestyle chess? Cyborg chess? No chess fans? Cyborg chess is not playing against cyborgs. Cyborg chess is actually a form of chess where a grandmaster or an AI or a team of an AI and a grandmaster can play as a contestant. And in those games, when you have a team that's an AI and a human together, they're commonly referred to as centaurs. And in the World Championship last year, the centaurs won 53 games when the AI only ran 142. It's really interesting, and it talks about the value of what machines do well and what people do well, and those working together. That's augmented reality. That's what we do at Daiquiri. And what is Daiquiri? Let me tell you a little bit about it first. Daiquiri started in 2010. We had 6 offices, a little over 300 people. And we have teams that have been working on hardware and software for augmented reality for over 7 years in the hardware domain and almost 15 years in the open source software and commercial software domain. And we're really passionate about changing the world with augmented reality and specifically changing the way that we work. What is augmented reality? I have apparently a very loose definition if I include chess playing. And oftentimes when I talk about AR, people think about VR. They think about the games that maybe play out in the real world. But I think that fundamentally, augmented reality, while it may sound funny, isn't about augmenting reality. It's about augmenting people. Connecting people with information and the world around them is a way to augment people and allow them to do things that they couldn't do before. What does that look like? Well, maybe we've seen things where augmented reality in the form of work instructions can show us very complex things, how to do them, passing that information visually. Maybe you've also seen the idea of having these sensors as part of these devices can understand devices that are completely offline and connect those to control systems, make that information actionable. Extending those sensors and giving workers the ability to do things they couldn't do before, to see temperature. These are real images of the thermal camera on a smart helmet. This is a fluid power system. That's liquid. That's a leak. That's an electrical connection. The two on either side look exactly the same without thermal, but the one in the middle is poorly connected. And the last one, that's mechanical misalignment. These sensors can help you solve a problem before it occurs, before it gets expensive, before it gets dangerous. And that's very interesting. How about we look at what it looks like in the real world? This is one of the Daiquiri products designed specifically for enterprise and industrial environments. This is a smart helmet. We don't like to use special effects in our videos. Everything you see here is what the user actually sees. Everything's processed on the helmet. The 2 videos are time code synced. So you'll see that it can identify a piece of equipment. It'll show you information related to that piece of equipment. And then it'll actually guide the worker through a complex work instruction to operate on it. It's very interesting to think about how much information is behind the things that we do. In fact, this group probably knows better than anyone how much information is behind the things that we work with every day. That's what augmented reality can do at work. It's pretty exciting. The products that we have today, the Daiquiri Smart Helmet, it combines the devices that workers use, that they have with them. Now they can have them all the time. It can be hands-free. And we have a software platform called 4D Studio that allows you to put that into your workflow. We also support open source, specifically open source computer vision. AR Toolkit's been downloaded over 1 million times by developers, and one of the most widely used frameworks. So that's a little bit about Daiquiri, but now let's come back to work in the future. Let's talk about that comma. When we think about work in the future, we have to imagine, what is that? What does that mean? What does work in the future mean? Is it how we work? Is it a futuristic factory? Is everything connected and scripted really well? I think to understand what that is, or even more importantly, what is possible for work in the future, is to understand what work itself is. When I say work, how many people think of something bad? Yes, all of you, right? At first glance, work is repetitive. Work is labor, right? Work is disconnected. Work doesn't have to be that. If we're really talking about work in the future, and that comma is important because now work can be a noun, it's not how we're going to labor in the future. The opportunity here is what work is. Work is like work of art. Work is something much bigger. Work can be purposeful. Why do you do what you do? Why do you get up in the morning? I hope it's because you're as passionate about what you do as I am about what I do. We can change the world. We can leave our mark in the world. We can reach our potential, and that is fantastic. And everyone else in the world wants to do that. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I want to fuck up at my job. Oh my God, can I say that on this stage? I apologize to our partners. So this is about connection. It's about access to knowledge in new ways. If you could put on a device, in fact, if you could put on a smart helmet and know how to do any job, what kind of impact could that have? Instead of waiting for a fast computer to come solve our problems for us, how about making it so 7 billion people on the planet can participate in the arts and the sciences? They can work together to solve the problems of the world. That's very exciting to me. I think that you take a worker and they don't want to mess up at their job. If they have the right information and context, they will make the right decisions. They'll be more empowered, they'll be safer, they'll be more productive. And what we're talking about is a theory, a concept that we have at Daiquiri we like to call cognitive literacy. Cognitive literacy is about access to ideas and the ability to act on that knowledge and share it. And we think it's going to have a profound effect on how we work and also how we organize society. These are pretty tough acts to follow. The wheel was important. Why? Because either we could use it to plow fields better, or we could use it to take the crops to a central market. And then at the end of the day, we weren't tired from trying to kill things and forage to eat. We could get together and share ideas and make a culture. When the printing press came out, there was single-digit literacy rate, and now we have the opportunity. We're literally in our grasp to have a type of universal literacy. That's fantastic. And the one on the far right is actually a cell phone for those of you who only remember smartphones. When they first came out, decades before they were smartphones, decades before they were the brick that everybody makes fun of, they were a briefcase, and you only used it if it kept you connected and you were able to make decisions, but the value was there. It was worth it. It was worth it at work first, and then it was worth it everywhere else in life. That's exciting. The potential impact is huge. The opportunity is at the center of the Internet of Things. We think augmented reality is very much at the heart of and the user interface for the Internet of Things, which can transform economies as well as individuals and how they work. Here's some real data. We've actually seen, this is a study Boeing and Iowa State put out. This is fascinating because they took students who had never put together aircraft wings before and had them assemble aircraft wings. And the first time they did it with augmented reality work instructions, there was 94% fewer errors versus any other form of training. That's versus paper, versus tablet, even virtual reality training, 94% less errors with augmented reality. And the cool thing was the second time that you did it, the second time somebody did that, the mean error rate was 0. That means we were actually able to take the best of people and the best of machines and have no errors at all. And that's a pretty profound opportunity. This is a really cool case study. Everyone thinks about going to do a pilot in the US or in the EU. This one was in Central Asia. It's really interesting. It's a steel mill, and they deployed smart helmets in a actually very practical way. If you've ever been in a factory, an industrial environment, it's very common to have a human-machine interface. It'll be curated information. Usually it's on the wall. It's always on the opposite wall from the side of the equipment that you're on, so it's very inconvenient to get to. Or it's in a central control room. And what they did with the smart helmet was to simply curate the most important pieces of information in a physical spot so that workers could make decisions at a glance. They could look at something. All the information they needed to make that decision was right there in that physical spot related to that piece of equipment. So you could walk up to the steel press and you could see these important status informations. But most important was you can't load the machine until all the temperatures are the same. And in this case, the exit temperatures were fine, and the intro temperatures were not up to speed yet. So you should wait, or it would be a wasted ingot. That's really exciting. That actually showed that you could increase worker productivity significantly just because they weren't having to run around to get that information to make a decision. That resulted in less downtime, more uptime. That's where your margin is in a facility. That's exciting. We actually learned in that case that being able to take your HMI with you is just as significant as taking your cell phone with you. And at DAQRI, our vision includes connecting the dots between future technologies, very difficult problems, wearables, and robots. And does anybody want to see a new technology that we've never shown to the world before? So apparently not. Yes. OK, let's do it. This is IntelliTrack. Unless you are a member of the very small computer vision academic community, you've never seen this before. This is something that we released for the first time just a few weeks ago at a conference. This is called IntelliTrack. And this is dedicated hardware that's been built around algorithms to track where a device moves. In order to augment the world in the best way, a device has to understand it, and it has to do it without draining the battery. So this is IntelliTrack from DAQRI in action. And what you'll see here is the fundamental challenges of computer vision of augmented reality is being able to understand where you are and how you move very quickly. And it's from different environments, like the press we talked about, to moving through a train station. And these things change dramatically. Our brains do a fantastic job of compensating, but the cameras have to see these points. They see them in very different ways. And you can't wait for a CPU or even a GPU to process the movement and then render content over it. It'll make you sick. This dedicated hardware will actually fuse the information between the inertial sensor and the camera directly at a very low power level and a very high accuracy so that you can render as quickly as possible with the least possible motion to photon delay in the rendering, and also with the level of accuracy that you need to do it. This is so that we can design it obviously into our own products, but then to be able to power other products that want to add augmented reality, the ability to not just move around inside, but to start to have these experiences at much larger scales. Today, augmented reality happens in the context of a small volume. You know, a few years ago, maybe it was a magazine. Then you could move to a larger area, like a desktop, and play a game. We need to be able to do it anywhere in the world. This is walking outside in an organic environment where all the trees move, all the plants move. Every frame, everything is nearly at a different spot. And this is a kilometer, and that's 0.25% error over a kilometer of distance. So That's the future of augmented reality and hopefully the future of work. We really believe that if you can change the way someone works, you can have a profoundly positive effect on their entire life. We're Daiquiri. Thank you.